Welcome back. Our first race of this spectacular Sunday afternoon here at Winton is race 2 of the Dunlop series. So Murph and Noons, take it away.
Thanks, Matty. Reverse top 10. So Taz Douglas scores pole position. Andre Heimgartner will start alongside the young Kiwi. Morgan Habermurth did a nice job yesterday. 7th, starts from 4th in this one. And if you're Paul, Morris or Dumbrell, that's not a bad place to be because they got some good points for finishing in the middle of the top 10 yesterday. They start from there in the reverse for this one.
Obviously, our winner yesterday, Cam Waters, superb job, back to 10th. Will he have the speed? He had plenty of speed, consistency, but will he have speed to move forward? Oh, we've got Taz Douglas missing from pole position. I did see when they rolled away for the warm-up lap, he really looked sluggish. It didn't look like he did a practice start or anything. He just rolled away very, very slowly. So obviously he's got a problem. There he is, great shape.
Pit lane
He's
start.
in pit lane.
They need to prove, remember, Murph, that the car starts under its own power. So if you can't do that, you need to start from the lane. So pole goes begging for Image Racing. There'll be a gap on the grid. What that does is it actually opens up a run for Gary Jacobson on the second row of the grid, driving for the Eggleston Motorsport team in a 888 built car. He's a forceful young guy from Shepparton, former Formula Ford racer, so this is his home track. Heimgartner, the young Kiwi, alone on the front row of the grid. He's driving last year's Dunlop Series winning car in the hands of Dale with 25 laps. Race 2, round 2 of the Dunlop Series ready to go.
Well, this is an opportunity for Heimgartner. He gets a pretty good, but then Morris up the inside.
And Dumbrell and Walsh, 5 wide for a moment to turn 1. Heimgartner leads, Walsh to second.
Amo was the big loser there into 1. He's been knocked and lost a lot of ground. It was an opportunity for the young Queenslander, and it has gone begging.
He's got to keep his head. He's got to get rhythm. Steve Owen lunging Andrew Jones down at turn 3. Doesn't get it done. Jones hangs on. Josh Keane in the background is out in the dirt.
Oh, this guy's... it's action aplenty at the start of the second Dunlop Series race here at Winton.
And we thought this year the longer race would mean they'd be more settled, they'd be more measured in their approach. They're going after it nice and early in this second race. Owen again trying the move on Andrew Jones. I think he'll get it this time. And now, Penright corner, nose to tail. You want to be around the outside.
Still going on. Oh, there it goes. Gets Owen.
Payback.
Well, I don't know if there should have been any payback because they were still side by side and it looked pretty clean up until that point. Andrew Jones yesterday held up a bit of a freight train and maybe Steve Owen was aware of that. He wanted to get past him nice and quick. We'll have to have another look at that one, though. Leaves
Heimgartner up in front, but Ash Walsh, last year's runner-up in the Infants Friend Ford from Matt Stone Racing. He's right up there in the title fight, and the young Kiwi's already a little defensive at turn 11. That leaves the door open at 12, and the Queenslanders in.
The crossover works beautifully down into 11 and through 12, and Walsh knew it. He forced Heimgartner down the inside under brakes and got back underneath him for the last turn. So Walsh leads the first lap. Heimgartner second, that opportunity from pole position. He hasn't made the most of it right now.
And look who's right with them. Paul Dumbrell, the former Bathurst champ, back in the Dunlop Series this year, driving the ex-Casey Stoner car off in the background. Looks like Matt Hansen around the wrong way, and Garth Walden, the number 11 car, ploughing out through the scenery. Busy first lap.
There's 25 to go, boys. 25 laps today here at Winton. And that is the test. That is the test. We've talked about it a fair bit, Aaron. These longer races put the pressure on these guys to be able to find that consistency. And certainly for any team, supercar team that's looking for endurance drivers, they're looking at these longer races to see how these guys manage a longer stint, which they would have to do if they were in a co-driver situation in the main game.
And a great point, Murph. There's some of these guys who are already signed to the Enduro Cup. Morris and Dumbrell, Cam Waters has got a gig. This is about keeping race fit, race sharp, and there's some young guys trying to prove that they should have one in the years to come. You've got Heimgartner running second, who is a development driver with Dick Johnson racing. Heimgartner off the road. Waters making a move in the background on Gary Jacobson.
Jacobson's not going to give up just yet.
Heimgartner trying to get back on the road, but there was a move already going on. Wrong place, wrong time to make a mistake.
Now, that was a bit interesting. I thought, it looked to me that Waters had that move done. Was he concerned about a yellow flag? I'm not sure. Or did he get a little touch from Jacobson that loosened the rear end of the NZ Falcon? I'm not sure. We'll have to have a look at that one.
I'm not sure. I was too busy watching Heimgartner bouncing off the road down there at turn 11. What it means, though, Ash Walsh is the comfortable race leader. Look at this. Morris in the red Ford, Dumbrell through the middle, Walsh down the outside. 5 wide for a second to turn 1. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Dumbrell, a fantastic start. Look at him moving there. There's Haber getting knocked sideways. Andrew Jones gave our winner yesterday, Cam Waters, a bit of a touch-up too. And that was only just the start of it. Here is that battle there. Well, that's a problem for Andrew Jones. That is a big problem because Steve Owen had given him plenty of room. And Jones has gone in there a little bit hot, as you say, Aaron. He has understeered ever so slightly. Didn't see a lock break. Here's a replay. Down into one.
That's Garth Walden up the inside of Matt Hansen. Now, I was watching Heimgartner run off the road. Waters was making a move in the background on Gary Jacobson, who in turn was back down the inside while the young Kiwi's trying to get back on the road, and Waters got a little bit of a rub wide. Andre's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He did get a touch there, so Cam Waters got a little touch. Taz Douglas.
Yeah, Greg, just to update you with Taz, he actually broke an axle on his warm-up lap, so they're obviously weren't sure whether he would be able to get round. That's why they started him from pit lane, and we just wanted to see how he was going to go and bring him in if he needed to.
Well, I can tell you, Rihanna, it's not going well. He's 29th. He's struggling around here, not making any pace at all, but he's got a real drama, so he's not contending in this one. Ash Walsh leads. Dumbrell next. Paul Morris here is hanging on. Murph, remember last year Paul Morris and Gary Jacobson came together when we were in the commentary box here at Winton?
Yes, I do.
You were on the floor, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
I didn't like what Paul did to Gary, but they've got a chance here to go at it again.
Well, Gary Jacobson's doing a superb job here. We talk about all these young guys looking for co-drives in the main game. Well, he's not so young anymore, but Paul Morris is doing the development series, the Dunlop series, because he is going to drive with Chaz Mosdett in the endurance series later on this year, and he's getting the miles just like every other guy in this class.
Brad Jones and Fabian Coulthard watching on intently, of course.
Here we go, Waters again.
Waters here.
He smoked it this time,
No good, no good.
He managed to keep it on the road. You can see him on and off the brake pedal, trying to unlock the right front wheel of the NZ Falcon. He did a great job to keep it on the road.
So the thing is, Murph, he's managed to keep the spot for the moment, but what about the mark on that front tyre?
Yeah, I don't know if it's too severe. There wasn't a lot of smoke trailing off the tyre, and he did a very good job of pulsing that brake pedal to try and get it unlocked. So I don't think he's going to be in too much strife with that one. But you can see how desperate he is to get past these guys. They're definitely holding him up. He's got pace better than the cars in front of him, and he needs to make that move because Walsh and Dumbrell have gone. Well, this will be another test for Waters. We saw yesterday his dominance and how smooth he was. He just puts the headlights on the NZ Falcon now to get these guys to either get going or get out of the way. But this will be the test to see what his patience is like this time, because as it stands, Walsh is leading the route. 279 to Waters 261. So he knows he's going to have to make a couple of moves here. He's down the inside of Jacobson this time. Does it clean into turn 10. That moves him up a spot. Now it's Paul Morris ahead of him that he needs to work on.
And this is the thing, Murph, I touched on before this race. This race is worth, look at this Pethel will get down the inside of Andrew Jones, who is still under investigation from race control for the contact with Steve Owen. The points to win, Aaron McGill off the road. That's at the exit of turn 3, and he's not going anywhere there. That's one of the ex-Kelly Racing Perkins Commodores from a few years ago. But one of the same points are on the line for this race, which is a reverse grid race versus yesterday. I'd like to see more weighting to yesterday where the grid's not affected.
And a safety car has been called for Aaron McGill's stranded car there at turn 3.
There he is.
This will bunch them all up, give them a little bit of a break. This is going to help Cam Waters massively.
It's turn 3 now. It's the old turn right for the old pit straight, and that's what happens when the left rear tyre is in the dirt when you turn.
Yeah, there was no tarmac out there.
No.
Not good for the braking grip.
Beached Asbro, Aaron McGill is in the sand. We'll take a break from Winton. More in a sec.
The safety car pulling off. Out of the way. Ash Walsh will lead him around the field onto the front straight. He dictates the pace.
Remember, the acceleration zone's caught a few out, both in the Dunlop Series and the V8 Supercars Championship. They must hold the speed here.
Approaching the AZ. Approaching.
And drama in the background. Car's been hit from behind. Morgan Haber's been collected by someone. His good weekend has come to zero. That car's damaged. He's done for the race. One of the THR cars is slow away there. That's Shane Price. He was on the fringe of the top 10. That was all involved. How and why we'll try to get to the bottom of. But we've restarted in this second race. And it's Ash Walsh who leads the way. Lap 10 of 25. Still a long way to go in this one. And Walsh, let's see if he can push away. There's Josh Keane, a little bit wide in one of the ex-Holden Racing Team Commodores, and he's had a pretty good weekend, but the front of that thing is absolutely smashed in, and it'll be starting to cook.
Well, clearly again, mate, the acceleration zone is...
Not working.
Well, I don't know if it's not working.
Are these guys not making it work?
You can't blame that. I mean, if you understand what the rules are, which they all should, being that they're in here racing
Correct.
development series cars, if you understand the rules, that should not happen.
Correct. Yep, I'm with
Absolutely
you.
should not happen. So someone needs to take a good hard look at themselves, and someone should be investigated for that, which has caused a fair bit of damage. Someone was obviously trying to anticipate the start. It didn't work out, and you know, we've had a couple of cars that have got serious damage because of it.
Just been doing some numbers too, Murph, and we talk about Cam Waters trying to get by Paul Morris. The difference between a third and a fourth is 9 points. It would tie him with Ash Walsh, but it wouldn't give him the weekend because Walsh has the better result in the final race, so he needs to get 2 spots. He's right here on the back of Paul Morris. He can get 1 spot and Walsh can lose 1 and he gets to the round victory. Long way to go, though, as the young Mildura driver, who's now based in Melbourne to be nearer FPR, is all over the back of Paul Morris. This is a 888 Falcon that Morris is driving, ex-Dick Johnson Racing James Moffat car from a couple of years ago. Behind is Gary Jacobson. Andrew Jones was under investigation before the break for contact. Here we go, restart. This is what we want to see. Shane Price is involved. Morgan Haber. Josh Keene's next in the queue. Haber gets hit from behind. Everyone whacks into the back of one another. It looked like the 10 or 11 cars in front caught the next few out, whether they were trying to get a run or not, or the speed was adjusted. This is a better shot.
Well, there's Haber behind. Someone's hit the brakes. Everybody started to accelerate. Look at these cars behind accelerating. Right, so either the drivers have not listened, haven't looked far enough ahead, or their engineers, the guys on the radio talking to them, have given them the wrong information. But this just should not happen.
No, you're right.
They're all trying to catch up at the end at the start.
And Walsh didn't go until he was almost at the end of the acceleration zone. So there's no reason for anyone to be going.
We know that it's up to him. There's Jim Policina going stage right there down into turn 10, and a pass move here.
Garth
Walden.
Dan Day is the one on the outside. That's Tim Macro following through.
And that carried on.
Both off the road.
As we see a passing opportunity presenting itself here.
Steve Owen on the fight-back mission in the Matthew White team car, the East Coast Traffic Control machine, moving on by young Todd Hayes. Jacobson on
down the inside. Waters is going to touch. He's going to hold it. Is he going to hold it? Jacobson's going to get through. Morris is going to look back down the inside. Or Waters is going to turn him.
Could see that coming a mile away. Jones in the gap. Pepper's trying to get there as well. And Pedersen the long way. It's come alive.
And Morris has got damage. He's gone off.
I wouldn't mind betting that's popped a tyre in that contact.
Either that or bent the steering.
Yep, straight off.
But he's going to rejoin. He's going to rejoin back over at turn 8 by the looks of it. He has rejoined on the track now. We know there's a bit of a rule about that. We'll talk about it in a second. Jacobson was the big winner. We didn't see the start of that altercation. It looked like it started through turn 1, 2 and into turn 3. But Jacobson's taken advantage of that. He's in P3, but Morris is actually, through that shortcut, has gone back into that position. Now, he's going to have to relent.
Yeah, that's the safest place, though, to get back on the track rather than trying to do a donut through the grass and pop out at Penrite Corner or similar. So he rejoins where he was running. Let's have a look again. This was what started it all. Waters down the inside at turn 1 on Morris, who gets bumped off the road, goes the other side of the marshal's post. This compressed them up because it gave Jacobson the big chance to get them both down the inside. As it turned out, he did get them both, but not without a bit of drama behind it in front.
That's right. And then Morris comes back after Jacobson and Waters have a little touch there. Puts his nose up the inside.
And that's the return of serve from the one at turn 1.
So Morris is allowed to return to the circuit at turn 8. No problem with that. But he has gained an advantage.
Yep.
So he's ahead of Jacobson. He has to actually pull back and go behind Gary Jacobson at this stage.
I wouldn't be trying to make that radio chat. There he is. He's backed it off and they've caught back up with Jacobson and Waters and Jones. Hey, fight for the leads on. Dumbrell is closing in on Ash Walsh. He is slowly but surely ripping margin away from the infant's friend 4, but this fight for third, it's been a really good one, and Jacobson's back on Morris.
Did he give him a touch?
No, I think he's just down the inside, and Morris didn't fight that one.
And here's Waters trying to take advantage of that too. So this race is not over. This battle, Waters looks like he's got to run down the inside. No, he hasn't. He is.
Yeah, he's conceding spots, Murph, because he was already passed before. Whether it was a good pass, bad pass, indifferent pass, he's really gone back to kind of where he was before he fired off the road. So I would reckon from here on in, he's good to play on.
Yeah, we'll see if he's got any further damage by the speed of that car, because I think he's fast enough prior to all that action to stay ahead of Andrew Jones, but we'll see what goes on here. Here's the BJR teammates, Andrew Jones, Chris Pither.
We'll see Jones again team with Jason Bright in the BOC car later on in the year. Chris Pither, the former V8U champ, second year for him with BJR in the Icebreak Coffee Commodore. Then Ant Pedersen, the New Zealander, is behind. So all three of the Eggleston cars are in the top 10. They're all silver and blue. Pretty easy to spot out the window. And Ant Pedersen, runner-up in last year's New Zealand V8 Super Tourer Series, to the man alongside me. And Andre Heimgartner, another young Kiwi here, the Finance Easy Ford.
Yeah, he's been the big loser so far in this race, starting from pole position, now running in the 10th spot.
He's on, though, at the front for the fight in race 2. Ash Walsh has control at the moment. Paul Dumbrell is chasing. And Paul Morris, he's been under attack from just about everyone. After the break, we're going all the way to the checkered flag at Winton Motor Raceway. You're back with the Dunlop Series at Winton Motor Raceway. Here's Walsh. He's driving with great effect too. There's 4 laps to go in this second race now. I mentioned earlier he won a race in Adelaide, but he hasn't won a round since last year when he broke through for that win that he had at Barbagallo in Perth. And of course, that is where we will next see the Dunlop Series. So this is a nice little springboard to grab a couple of points back on that man we just saw there, Paul Dumbrell. Owen looks racy here. He's got a bit more pace than Chris Pither, but it's all about having it in the right spots at this place. If you've got it in the wrong spots, you can't do anything. Aaron Tabb off the road,
Taking a shortcut from...
Oh, Dukes of Hazzard style.
Wow.
Lucky. That would have got his attention. Ant Pedersen here in the 38 Commodore. This is one of the Eggleston cars, 888 built, but that's one of the cars that spent time at Paul Morris's team and also Techno Autosports. Of course, all these cars have histories from the main V8 Supercars Championship. You need to have raced them somewhere in the main championship for them to be eligible for the Dunlop Series. So they've come from 888, from FPR, from Walkinshaws, from Stone Brothers. They've all got really good pedigree, really good gear in this field since the main championship moved to the new generation cars. So that's lifted the level all round.
Yeah, there's quality everywhere. There's no question about that. How many cars in here have been on pole, won races, done everything in the main game? This equipment's all filtered back down through. And driving these cars, we're talking about all the time about the endurance drivers, all that kind of thing. It's become even more important now that the enduro driver sessions have been cancelled for 3 of the rounds this year prior to the series starting in September at Sandown. So the miles are getting harder and harder to come by for the co-drivers, and this kind of stuff is just gold.
I've had a lot of questions on social media in the lead up to this round, Murph. Of course, we don't see you racing here in Australia at the moment full-time. We'll see you for the Holden Racing team later in the year, but you're still racing. You're still full-time in the New Zealand V8 Super Tourers. We'll see them at the ITM 500 at Pukekohe when we head over to New Zealand in 3 weeks' time. So you're still busy. You're not driving during the course of the year and just driving a microphone. You're still in a race car.
It's still a race car. Still doing some rounds before rounds into the Super Tourer Championship at the moment. So had a bit of racing over a little while. We've got, as you say, supporting V8 Supercars, the ITM 500 coming up at Anzac weekend.
Do you get your own grandstand at Pukekohe? You should. This is Garth Walden, replay, deciding to try to make turn 1.
This is his 3rd excursion for the day.
3 out of 3. I hope he doesn't do the Aaron Tabb.
Exactly. We're about to see if he does.
They're from the same garage, these cars, for the R-Sport team. That's not as bad. That's actually a bit nicer than the rejoin before from that access road. So
that track is looking very dirty at the exit of turn 2.
This will be the final lap, Murph. So Ash Walsh has done a beautiful job. He's built the margin to 2 seconds. He's controlled himself, he's controlled his pace and looked after his rubber, and he started to drive away from Paul Dumbrell.
And it was all from the start. It was all about the start. He got a sensational run, capitalised on a couple of issues for a few other drivers and found himself at the front of the field and has controlled it from there. Nothing else he can do about everyone behind. Cam Waters, unfortunately for him, winning yesterday in a similar fashion to Ash Walsh, hasn't been able to go further forward than 4th position which means he will be second if that fight between he and Jacobson doesn't change in the next half lap.
Been the best part of 12 months between round wins for Ash Walsh. He was the runner-up last year in the Dunlop Series to Darwood. They fought it out right throughout the course of the year. This is a statement to all around the V8 Supercar paddock. Matt Stone Racing and Ash Walsh have stood up this weekend. Finally, a Queensland team has won the Winton round of the Dunlop Series for the first time ever. They've done it. It's Walsh who gets the job done. He wins race 2 and clinches round 2 for the weekend. Paul Dumbrell, nice drive to come home in second. He'll be third on points for the weekend, with Cam Waters, yesterday's race winner, standing in between them in terms of 1, 2, 3. Morris is home in P5. That was a really entertaining second race of the weekend for the Dunlop Series. Let's recap. Walsh, Dumbrell, Jacobson, a great drive for third. Pither in 7th. Steve Owen got his way up to 8th. Van Pedersen 9th. And Andre Heimgartner rounded out to 10. What a weekend for Ash Walsh. Matt Stone Racing pick up race 2 and round 2 of the Dunlop Series. He's done it in style today. A winner at Winton for the first time in this category. Rihanna Crean is with our winner.
Congratulations, Ash Walsh, your second race win for the year, and of course the round win this weekend, and you're the first Queensland team to do it here at Winton.
Yeah, it means a lot to me and the boys to come here to Winton and win. Coming into the weekend, we knew we were going to have a tough weekend, being the test track of the guys that we're racing against. You know, we chipped away at it all weekend. We didn't start off well, but this is a really great one for us and the team.
Get up there and enjoy the champagne.
Thank you.
And I've got some very good news for Ash Walsh. He's closed the margin in the series. It's just 22 points now to Paul Dumbrell, the round 1 winner, who continues to lead the way. Cam Waters, a race win yesterday. He jumps to 3rd. Andrew Jones is in the mix. Gary Jacobson is now position 5 from Paul Morris. The top 10 are all within striking distance with 5 rounds left to go. Let's head to the podium with Rihanna Crean.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2014 V8 Supercars Winton 400 Dunlop Series Round 2 winners.
Great job from Ash Walsh. We'll see him in the Enduros later in the year with Dick Johnson Racing. Paul Dumbrell in the Red Bull suit. He'll be in the Red Bull car later on in 2014 with Jamie Whincup. Champagne time for the Dunlop Series. Their next round will be when we head to Western Australia to Barbagallo Raceway, and it's a place where Walsh won last year. He must be riding high on confidence. 5 rounds to go in the Dunlop Series. A big thanks to Greg Murphy and the whole team. We'll see you next time.